I started a networking group here in Austin. It was supposed to be Women in Multifamily Austin. But then, and the reason was I started going to these different events and noticing that maybe there would be one woman on a panel and maybe one speaker, but for the most part, it was 90% men, 10% women. And then looking out in the crowd, thinking, what, did they just not come today, or where are girls at? And so I just thought, well, maybe I know that there's some really great women out there. Let's start this little networking group and see what we get.
Welcome to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Show. Whether you are an active or passive investor, we'll teach you how to scale your real estate investing business into something big.
Dedee Boring is a self-storage and multifamily investor, and she's dedicated to building wealth through strategic investments. Dedee is also the founder of the Women in Multifamily Association, connecting women in the industry. Dedee, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine. Dedee, there are 3 questions I ask every guest who comes on the show in 90 seconds or less. Can you tell me, where did you start? Where are you now? And how did you get there?
Well, we've had a family business for 18 years. My husband and I have worked together for that long. It's been a fun time. In 2020, we sold everything we had in Midland and moved to Austin and took our business with us. Our children were less than excited about joining in the family business, which was advertising. So we looked for something that we would all enjoy. So we decided real estate was where we were going to be. We pretty much got our butts kicked in 2022. We had 3 deals that the interest rates just tanked in multifamily. And so we fought valiantly for those, but it just didn't work out. And so we've decided to pivot to storage. And we have partnered with some really great people, Pinnacle Storage Properties and Impacts Capital. And we have a storage, we just closed on a storage facility, and we're looking to close on a couple more pretty soon. So we have a storage facility in Forney, Texas, which is right outside of Dallas. And it's about 75,000 square feet.
Okay. Very cool. Well, let's hear this kind of, not transition, but how this evolved. So you, in 2020, you said, hey, we're moving to Austin. You're leaving the oil fields, moving to, I guess, what's Austin now? The tech city, I guess, if you will. I don't know what Austin is. Yeah.
Austin's hill country. It's beautiful. And where we were living is just not very pretty. Right. And all of our kids graduated from high school. Our youngest one was going to school. And we said, we've done our time in Midland, Texas, and we're going to go to someplace pretty. And it's very pretty here. So we decided that's what we're going to do. So while everybody else was under quarantine, we were moving.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people doing that in quarantine as well, seeking a greener pasture elsewhere. That's really cool. You decided to get into real estate. What were some of the things that you feel like you did right? And then maybe we can talk a little bit about how 2022, in your terms, kicked your butt. So what were some things you feel like you did well there, learning and then getting involved in commercial real estate?
I think we did well by getting into a mentorship program where we had people encouraging us and teaching us the business. I think we're very good at underwriting properties. We have a template that we've gotten very good at. We underwrote the heck out of a lot of properties before we ever put a LOI on anything, just to make sure that we knew what we were doing. So I think we evaluated the market as much as we could. And we tried to pick partners. We thought maybe that's not something we did well, but we think we have networked. I think we are as a family we are really good at networking and getting out there and not being shy, and just getting our name out. So networking, the cliche, your net worth is your network is your net worth. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you guys said, hey, we're going long there in multifamily, and then 2022 happened. What did that mean to you?
So we got 3 off-market deals in a row. We picked some partners that we felt were pretty solid. And basically we did an LOI in May, and then June interest rates start going up, and we had a lender pull out, and then we had a whale investor pull out. And so it's just a combination of a whole bunch of things. And, we've been fighting. We fought valiantly for it to see if we could do it, but it just, in the long run, it just didn't work out for our investors. So we pulled. It was better for us to lose that money, which was a lot, to lose that money, and as painful as it was, and learn those lessons. And the lessons learned were, make sure you really know your partners. I mean, this is a marriage for 5 years, and make sure that they're gonna, if things go bad, that they're gonna stay. Because we learned that that's not always the case. So yeah, 2022 happened. And then, we had thought about being in storage for a long time and just hadn't taken that plunge. And I believe it was a God thing. I got a great email of a property sent to me. And, in multifamily, a $14 million project is not a big project, but in storage, that's a really big project. So, I didn't really, because multifamily was the only thing I really knew, I didn't get surprised by the price. And so I had this whole team built up, and we went after it, and it was owner financing, great leverage, great interest rate. So it was kind of a dream. It was great.
That's awesome. And was that a deal that you uncovered?
Yeah. Just through my network. So again, network, always stay in front of people, always, everybody's busy. So it's not even a personal thing. If a broker doesn't remember who you are or remember to send you that off-market deal, it's top of mind. And I think a lot of people find that it's personal and they haven't built that connection. And they probably have. It's just a matter of the squeaky wheel thing, just always keeping in front of people and making sure you're heard.
Absolutely. It's funny, not funny, because there's nothing funny about this. Your experience there of losing your earnest money. I mean, it's not one that is uncommon, unfortunately. But I think there's some things there to learn. And I've always said that the last 10 years have really covered up a lot of potential mismatches in partnerships. They've covered up a lot of, in the last decade, almost, not exclusively, but you could throw a dart at a board, pick a multifamily property, and you probably would have made money. And I've said, it's covered up a lot of those kind of mistakes and or things that could be mistakes. And I said, I keep saying this, I think that the tougher the times get, the more we're going to see those kind of cracks in the foundation and or poorly formed general partnerships, all of those things. What are some, and I say this to our investors and, to everybody else, which is the thing you should be evaluating is the team. Like the deal is the bottom, maybe 10% of the whole shooting match. It's team, market, then the deal. And the deal is only 10% maybe of that equation. So tell me, when it comes to the team, you learned some lessons the hard way. The first time on the team, what did you do differently when you started picking your storage partners?
So I keep saying network. I had a fabulous conversation about minions with a man at a networking event for a very long time. And the only thing I heard besides minions was that he was in storage, that he had invested passively in storage. He wasn't even an active investor. So when we got the deal, obviously the seller, who is also the bank on that deal, wanted to know that the team that is coming in to take this deal over had experience, and we did not have that. So I reached out to my network, and I remembered that conversation of sitting there going, why am I here listening to this conversation? And here we are. And man, that guy, he hooked me up. So we had built some trust, and he felt like I was somebody he wanted to pass on to his network. And he connected me with the guys at Pinnacle Storage Properties through a series of meetings and, evaluating the property. And we have decided that that's something that we want to continue doing after this project. But we've worked on it to the point where we've had meetings where we come in and say, okay, this went well, this didn't go well. How could we do better in the future? And just that willingness to be able to do that and to want to do that is something that we haven't necessarily had in previous relationships. So that was very important to us this time around, that we do that. I did have a really great mentor that her name is Kim Windland with Quattro Capital. I don't know if you've ever met her. And she right out of the gate, she's like, network as much as you can, get to know all these people. It's a small world in the multifamily space, in the storage space, it's even smaller. Just get to know all these people. You'll figure it out. who you want to do business with and who you don't. And she couldn't have been more right. Couldn't have been. I mean, so yeah. So now I'm just trying to help others with their women's group, trying to help others understand that network. I got it. Kim Winland paid it forward for me by mentoring one-on-one for free. She didn't have to do that. And so I started a networking group here in Austin. It was supposed to be Women in Multifamily Austin. But then, and the reason it was I started going to these different events and noticing that maybe there would be one woman on a panel and maybe one speaker, but for the most part, it was 90% men, 10% women. And then looking out in the crowd, thinking, what, did they just not come today, or where are girls at? And so I just thought, well, maybe I know that there's some really great women out there. Let's start this little networking group and see what we get. I had never met a female broker here. And I don't know that there is one, like a Marcus Millichap, JLL woman broker here in Austin. So I looked at a property in Houston, and there was this beautiful woman that's a broker there who's a unicorn, because you know how many women brokers are. So she was kind enough to say that they would love to host a WINFA in Houston. And then from there, it just grew. And now we're in Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin, Denver, and we start Seattle and Raleigh next month.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story. I think for anybody looking to start a meetup group, I mean, there had, and you know, your family business of marketing and advertising, I'm certain has played a role in helping you get that launched. But I mean, that's got to be intimidating, especially coming off the heels of, you know, getting your teeth kicked in 2022. Like, was there any kind of self-doubt that was like, who am I to start this? And then if so, how did you overcome it?
So I think women have they struggle, especially more than possibly men do, with imposter syndrome. So of course, yeah. And I think that, I mean, I heard something somewhere that men need to only qualify for like 60% of a job and they'll apply for it, where women want 100% of the qualifications before they'll apply for it. I've never gone into this network where I was the guru or the person that knows it all. I have always gone into it as, hey, we're here together. Let's get people that know more than we do to come in and speak and learn all together. Yeah. And through that, we're building a foundation of trust, which is what our 5 core values are: trust, identity, belonging, purpose, and then competency. So instead of coming in and saying, I have all these storage units and I do this, and then you should trust me because I have that, which I do feel like some networks do. They build it on their competency, which is great for them. But we're going to go with trust and build this group of women that we can all trust to collaborate with and network with. And because we just know that together we can do more. That's our slogan. And that's really, women love to work together and build teams. And that's just kind of how we are. So it's exactly what's happened. What was a surprise from this group is, after going to these towns, Austin's very savvy investors. There are lots of short-term rentals, lots of single family flips. Austin is a group of women that really have been investing for a long time. So, but as I ventured out, even to Dallas and to Houston, I realized that there's a lot of women that don't know how to invest, or they've had generational limitations put on them. Right. Generational limitations being that, and you're from the South, that the man is the head of the household, that they control the money, that, and so I've heard story after story of women who have gotten divorced and they had nothing, no credit in their name, don't have a bank account, and they're starting from scratch. And so they've made a big first step of getting to the door and coming into the room to hang out with other investors and learn. But that's been a side bonus to WINFA, is that component of empowering women to even remotely think about real estate investing.
That's really cool. I love that. What were some actionable steps you took to get that launched? I mean, it's one thing to dream that up. I mean, it sounds like you put a lot of thought into it, everything from your core values to what your slogan is. But I mean, finding that let me rephrase that, finding that particular avatar of person that would be a great candidate for your groups. How do you do that?
Well, I mean, basically, so I used to work in children's ministry for 9 years.
Okay.
And so I used a lot of my skills from that and what I learned from there. So basically, if I came up to you and I said, I need you to hang out with sixth grade boys and teach them Jesus, teach them Sunday school, you would probably go, I don't think I can do that.
Right.
But if I said, I want you to, I feel that you're well abled and equipped to do that. And I would love for you to join us and just see if you like it, just see if this is something you want to do. Then all of a sudden that's a lot easier, right? That's a lot easier for you to even remotely think about that possibility. So we don't need these people to come to our group. We want them to join us. We want to help them move forward. We want to grow them. So if it's less of a plea of please come to my meeting and more of we really want you to come, we really want you to belong here.
Right. No, and that makes a lot of sense. But I guess even finding those people that aren't already part of your natural network, it would seem like it's not a heavy lift. But and I'm sure it gets to a point where it snowballs and it's much easier, where people are telling people, and okay, now the groups are growing more organically. But in the beginning, there has to be some sort of critical mass, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Hey, there's 5 of us, there's 10 of us that are going to get together on a regular cadence and bring somebody in that we can learn from. Was that the way it worked, or did you go about it differently?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we had a group of ladies in Austin that were I call them our OGs. And they basically, I said to them, no pressure. I would love for you to be a part of a WINFA board to help get this started. And we sat one Saturday in January, we sat in my living room and we talked about all the possibilities, everything from an education program to conferences. What did we see? What was the big picture? I tend to be a small picture thinker. Like my husband's a big picture thinker, and that's how we work so well, is that I think about the next step where he thinks about this giants. And I have a lot of big picture thinkers, as most real estate investors I feel like are big picture thinkers. So they want more. All of us have been in different networks and paid for mentorship programs. We've all gained knowledge from them, not to bash anybody. But we also have seen where maybe things could be different or better.
Yeah.
Or how would we like to see it? So we have a lot of great ideas. We just got off of another planning session. But I mean, Raleigh is because of a network my mentorship program that I bought into. I had met 2 ladies through that network. And Seattle's the same. So basically it's leveraging other people's network is how we're growing. So some people are in a network that's based out of Dallas, and I'm in one that's based out of Florida. So my network and core people is just this much. And then there's all these people that have the Dallas network, they can go through theirs. And so basically leveraging everybody's network in that board that we have is how that's working.
Got it. No, that's really cool. I love that. And those are I'm probably more your big picture. I often wonder, like, the details, like how did somebody, and thanks for sharing that, because I wonder that, like, how do you get from not critical mass to now, opening up multiple chapters in multiple cities? And that was really super helpful there. We've got just a few minutes left here, and I want to kind of circle back to our conversation on self-storage. This was something I thought of and didn't get a chance to ask you. It's one thing to vet a sponsor, right? And to figure out, I think there's enough sponsor checklists, how to vet a sponsor checklist, things like that, which are very, very helpful. But it's another thing for a sponsor to vet you. When that sponsor comes to you and you say, and I'm at this juncture now where, people are coming to me saying, hey, we'd love to capital raise for your next fund. Here's how this works. And I've always been that partner that's partnered with the sponsor, and now I'm doing it in reverse. I'm curious, what were some of the things that the sponsor did to get to know you and make sure that you were a good fit for what it was that they were doing?
These guys, Pinnacle, I don't know how to describe them more than they're just some good old Texas boys, and they're salt of the earth people. So for them, it was just being very transparent and honest. So I think if I had come in and said, we're the best and we want a huge part of the deal, and and I couldn't really back that up with my storage experience, could I? So being able to be very transparent on our process and what we're trying to gain from it, and all the way through, we had some issues and hiccups, of course. So I'm the person that really talks back and forth with all of the partners in the deal. So You know, two of them are kind of real abrupt in how they communicate, and one is very passive and likes to kind of dance around the subject before. And so I'm the mediator that manages those communications. And I think that's probably one of my skill sets for that. But really, it was a matter of, can you handle that? Can you handle their personality? And could they, because they could handle mine, because I'm fairly easygoing, but could we work with them? Do I know what it takes to get along with them? And do they know what it takes to get along with me? And so it doesn't take much. I feel like I'm pretty easygoing, but I think that there's a lot of people that are harder to get along with. And these guys have a system, and we respected that. And we did not try to probably get more than we should have gotten out of the gate, because we didn't. We're learning from them. So we respect their authority in the space. And I think that's really important, to really respect that authority in the space.
Yeah, that's a great, an absolutely great point. Dedee, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show today. Certainly learned a lot from you. Thank you for also taking the time just to share your kind of battle scars, if you will, from launching into the commercial real estate space. It's not for the faint of heart, and clearly you are not faint of heart, because you're still doing it. And still doing it. You forged your own path. You've given us great ideas on how to start a networking and meetup group, kind of some of the things it takes to get that. You even given us kind of real practical steps on how to get those started and launched as well. So again, thank you for coming on the show today. I do appreciate it. If our listeners want to get in touch with you, yeah, absolutely. If our listeners want to get in touch with you and learn more about you, what is the best way to do that?
Well, you can go to boringandco.com. Our last name really is Boring. And you can schedule a meeting with me anytime. So I don't know if I have any of my information up on the screen or with you, but boringandco.com has all of that.
Boringandco.com. We'll make sure we'll put that right there in the show notes. Dedee, thank you again for coming on. I do appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for listening to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate podcast. If you can do me a favor and subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever platform it is you use to listen, if you can do that for us, that would be a fantastic help to the show. It helps us both attract new listeners as well as rank higher on those directories. So appreciate you listening. Thanks so much, and hope to catch you on the next episode.